Hello, everyone. I guess we are live. I never really know. It's a bit of a, you know, if you're not a pro with these tools, then now I can't even open another browser window. It's tragic. I don't know. Maybe I'll just sit here and talk. I don't know. Maybe people will listen. Maybe not. It is actually a bit tragic that I can't open a browser window. I made the tragic mistake of popping out my YouTube chat. Alright. Mike asserts that we are live. Okay, let's just continue as such, and hopefully it'll go alright. I know it won't go alright because we've got all sorts of noise going on. We've got somebody in the building, in our house, fixing our bathroom. We're like redecking out the bathroom. And outside, the builders are pouring concrete into some other builders are pouring concrete into a new basement that is being built, not our neighbors, but the next one over. So there's going to be all sorts of noises, and just try and bear with me. I really should go to one of these, like, maybe a podcast studio. Maybe I should go to like maybe just a phone booth somewhere and do these instead. So we'll see how tragic this office hour is going to turn out. We've got a couple of things I want to cover. Feel free to ask questions. There's going to be more time because we have done less dramatic stuff. Last time I felt it was pretty dramatic, and a lot of those topics I could have talked about those for an hour. Today we've got much less has happened because I've spent more time working on some specific projects. Sometimes you just have to deliver projects, and that brings in some cash into the company, and we can build more stuff and improve Saltcorn. So much less in by the way of features, but some pretty important ones that you may not have seen, and that should still make life a little bit easier if you're building. So let's start straight away, except I am not ready because I don't have my window open in the right place. So now I'm just gonna sit here and make noises until I've booted up my server, which should be now. Okay, here we go. So we talked, I guess this follows on directly from last time. We have this new login button. I think I showed this last time, right? So let's log in using our magic login button. And if you didn't see that, go to the last office hours and you will see why we can now log in with a bit more flexibility. So I'm just going to talk about some sort of minor stuff, and then we have one very important thing that people have been asking for. Actually, all of these things people have been asking for, but in different volumes. And the last one I want to talk about, people have asked for a lot, and it's great that we have it. This is push notifications. I'm going to show you how to do push notifications. So now you can make notifications appear on your users' mobile screens, which will be very annoying for your users. So please don't abuse it. Otherwise, they'll just come and blame me. Sometimes they blame, the open source developer. But I'll look at that last. First, I just want to tell you, I can't remember if I talked about password. I think last time I said that password for backups were coming. Well, they're here now. You can enter a password here. Sort of, you can just go like secret123. And then any backup that you make will be encrypted. So this is I don't know if you know, but backups are really just zip files, and any backup that you make will be encrypted with that password. So this is, of course, doesn't mean that you should leave them lying around, because people probably can brute force them, but you can use it just this just gives you an extra layer of protection for your backups. So if you are sending these backups somewhere, we talked about, how does it work? Oh yeah, if I set this to daily, I get all these settings here. So I can now choose, right, S3, SFTP, whatever. So if you're sending your backups to somewhere else, now you can password protect those. Right, I'm not gonna show that. So the interesting thing, what happens is if you have a password and if you then want to restore a backup, what happens is, you know, on the first screen where it says create first user, maybe we don't know. Should I show you? So this is actually example.com is actually running on my local computer. I've just done a alias here. I can't remember. I don't have the password here. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to show you how to do it because I can't be bothered to find my password. But when you restore a backup, then, you know, when you first create a tenant, actually we'll see this in a bit because I'm going to do that in these office hours. When you first create a new application, it asks you to either create a first user or to upload a backup. And now if you then upload a backup and if that's password protected, then you go to a screen and it will show you you can enter the password there, and if it's correct, then bam, you've got your application. All right, that's all I'm going to say about password backups. Some of you want it, some of you don't. If you don't want it, just don't fill it in, and your backups won't be password protected. And for some people, it's really important. Second thing that I want to talk about that I had some fun doing. This was copy and paste. So you can now copy and paste inside the builder, which is great. We should have had this before. Let me switch to this so we can see more. Okay, so you can. The only thing is you can't copy actions. Actually, I fixed that, but that fix is not yet, so you can't copy. So it doesn't work. Nothing happens. But if you copy anything else than an action, so you can select these columns, or you can select the container, and you can also, you know, you can select a container that has an action inside, and you can copy that. So let's see. So here we are. I've selected a container or an element, anything apart from an action. You select some element, and you press Control C. You can't see me do that, but now I'm just going to do it. Press Control C, and hopefully, by pressing Control V, it doesn't work. Paste. Okay, different browser. I haven't tried this on Firefox before. Different browsers, I guess, deal differently with that because you actually need to get permissions. The browser needs to get permissions from the user to interact with the clipboard. And I didn't realize that that was how Firefox did it. But there you go. So a little thing. You don't see that. You don't see that on the screen. You don't see this on the live stream. I don't think so, at least. But I see a little button that says paste, and when I click it, it appears. So you can copy and paste between different things, and you can copy from different, you know, I can copy from different pages. So I'm in one page here. Let's go to a different page. I don't know what these are. Oops. So I can paste, and I get my little paste box that you can't see because it's not being broadcast for some reason. But I see a little pasting, and you can paste. So you can copy and paste from one screen to another. You can probably copy between pages and views. There's no sort of protection against. So when we use the library, there's kind of like a protection against, like, you can't put in elements that don't make sense. So in the library, for instance, you could have an element that has fields in it. Then it wouldn't make sense to paste that into a page because you can't have pages. You can't have fields in pages. You got to have them inside a view that, you know, tells you how to relate to the database table. So in the pages, you can actually now paste fields. And I don't know what happens. Should we try it? Okay, I'm going to try and break this. Let's try and paste a field from a view into a page. And let's see what happens. This will go wrong. Okay, I got my little paste box. All right. So I do get the field. All right, so then it crashes. So we might do some sort of little protection against that, so you can only paste in things that make sense, or maybe some kind of filtering of the elements you're pasting in. The other thing that I was thinking that would be really nice, actually, is if you could paste in HTML. So if you go to some, you know, tutorial on HTML, tutorial on Bootstrap, and it says, you know, use this HTML to create something, we could actually do something where you can copy it in to the page and it would be transformed into the elements like containers and cards and stuff like that. We have some code for that. That code comes from the Copilot when we generate pages. Then we're asking the large language model to generate HTML, and then that's being translated into the Saltcorn sort of structure of elements, so that you can edit it with drag and drop and go in and point and click. So we could do that with HTML. I think that would be really nice. That does not work, but I think it's not too difficult to do it. So maybe if I'm bored, I will do that at some point. Okay, great. You can copy and paste, and this does help some people. Just a reminder, what I said before: if you have an action, it doesn't currently work. It's actually just because it's not intercepting the Control C, but just put it into a container and copy the container, and then you can just I guess I want some container to copy that into. Here, got my little paste button, and now I've got a container inside a container because we needed that container to transfer the action. So it will work in the next. I have fixed it, but it's just not merged yet for complicated reasons. Okay, copy and paste works. Great. So next thing I want to show is time is flying. Somebody better ask some questions. Because I have two more things that I've prepared, and then I don't have anything else to say. So somebody better say something or ask some questions. But next thing I want to show you is select by copy. Sorry, this is a new field view that gives you the ultimate. Sorry, not select by code is what I meant. This gives you the ultimate flexibility in terms of populating drop-downs. Again, one of these things we should have done ages ago, and we didn't. Let's go to an edit view. Okay, so, here we go. So this is my usual structure. I may have shown this before. There's just a structure used for tests. So books are published by publishers. So there's a key between books and publishers. Okay, so hey, Jose, good to see you. Okay, so we have a new field view. This is called select by code. I think I showed you this select by view. Oh, you can't see. I think I showed this select by view before. I hope I did. It's kind of cool as well. Oops. That's kind of cool, but I'm gonna show you the new stuff. Okay, so I guess I've already been here and entered something. So let's get rid of that. And I want to talk about how this works. Actually, should we do a... Let's see, what fields do we have on this table? Is there an options? Yes, there is this category option. Okay. So do we have a category field? Publication date. Field. I don't think we have a category field, so we're just going to make a new one. Okay, so let's start with a simple field that has... This is just string options. Okay. So now you can do this in different ways. So the core idea is this will be a field view. It will give you a drop down, and you basically say what the options are, right? So, and you do that with code. So you got to write some code here. This is for the ultimate flexibility. You always have to write code, but it's pretty simple. Okay, so let's just see what this let's see what this looks like without. This was before I had the editor. Category. Okay. Okay, so here's our view. Category is... yeah, that's because I haven't set it to anything. Okay, so let's do a normal select. The normal select for string is edit here. So here I can choose, right? I can choose whatever book. This is like a book category. This is a table of books. This is the category of book. Okay, so now if I have select by code, I can just return my own. I can return an array of strings, or I can return an array of objects. So I can just go like cats, dogs. Okay, so now my categories here are cats and dogs. I could also go. I don't have to have the key thing is here. You can decide the label independently of the value. So you have to have an object here that has label, which is a string. I'm just spending a lot of time here on a very contrived example. I'm sorry about that. But I'm going to do something silly. Okay, so you got to have an array of objects that each have a label and a and a value. Okay, so the label could be, how do you spell meow? Something like that. Woof. Dogs. Okay. So now I get meow and woof, but those are the labels, and the values will be set to cats and dogs. Obviously, I could put in Unicode here, which I will do. Just because no one's asking any questions, and so I've got to, you know, entertain the people who are watching. Okay. Is that right? Oops. Nope, that's right. So now you got cats and dogs. Okay, so look, okay, so the other thing that I had before, in Publisher, we had a more elaborate example, and that's actually the real power. Guess what? We did not do this. Well, in fact, we did do it, so you could put Unicode in as the labels. That's the truth. But it's more powerful than that. And this code doesn't just have to return. It can access the tables, it can get rows, you can do whatever restrictions, you can filter the rows, you can combine rows from multiple tables, you can join. Basically, you get to write whatever JavaScript here, and then you get to return whatever array of strings and labels. And so this is, you know, the ultimate flexibility. I think, you know, if you're struggling with these where expressions that we have, you know, here we have these where. Oh, we do have that documented, but people sometimes struggle with them. If you do, then just, and if you're more comfortable actually writing JavaScript than you are with my weird where syntax and what the restrictions are of that, then just switch into JavaScript here with select by code, and you know, you can fetch from a table. All right, so this is the ultimate flexibility in terms of drop-down populating the lists. And I do think we haven't really explored and done justice to this. I think a couple more options would be neat here. Maybe the ability to change these to a radio, inline or vertical, could be useful. I think in general in Saltcorn we have too many drop downs and not enough radios. So, and there's something that the radios don't always behave quite as well as the selects. In some cases you can't use a radio. You know, I think this is a very small change that I will probably look to do at some point. Okay, that is it for select by code. Now I will show you push notifications. This came up a couple of weeks ago, and it has been done by Christian, who is kind of the person who really knows sort of web technologies. He's done all the web and mobile technologies. He did all of the mobile builder, and he did the oh, that reminds me, I need to upload the video. He did a tutorial video about how to build mobile applications. I need to upload that. And he did also the real-time collaboration, which all depends on WebSockets. And now he has done push notifications. And that works for... So this is the one where you get it on your lock screen and stuff like that if you're on mobile, and if you're on desktop, it pops up in your desktop outside your browser window. That aspect I will not be able to show because I've not chosen to broadcast my screen today, only a window, but I will just tell you when I see a notification. And it also works on so it works on desktop. It works if you're on your browser and just visiting a website, and it works if you are have installed a PWA. Christian is currently doing it for Android applications. We might not do native iOS for a while, just because it's more work, to be honest. But it's there for web, and that web works on iOS. You know, that if you're on a iOS device, it still works. At least I assume so. I haven't actually tested that, but it should work. But I will show you on desktop, and you can try it on your own. You can try it on your phone browsers if you like. Okay, so I will do this in a new application. So we'll create a new one. Let's see, what do we need? Office hours. Test notify. Okay. And this is the one I talked about before, by the way. This is where this is where you restore backup. And I'm sure most people have seen this. So this is where it will now ask for password if you upload a file that has been password protected. But that's not what we're doing now. Okay. Okay. So I've got a blank application here. This is what it looks like. And the first thing, let's see, what do I have to do? Well, first, let me demonstrate notifications without the new sort of web push notification. So let's just, remind ourselves how we do that. So first, there are notifications always. I'm actually going to disable that. So this is where the magic will happen, but let's ignore that for a second, and I'll just put that in the menu. Okay, so if I reload now, then as a user, I'm admin, but every user will now have this notifications menu here. And you can see what notifications you've had. You can choose whether you want them by email, or there'll be another option shortly, which will pop up here. But now let's do some notifications. Let's see. Okay, let's create. Create notify page. Okay, I'm going to drop in an action. So this action called notify user. Okay. And you can say here the user, sorry, you can't see this. You can say here the user email, so I can just do my email. That's my email, by the way. And you can also have a where here. So you can actually just do, if you do that, then everyone will be notified. Or you can do ID equals 1. That's, again, me. I'm the first user. Or you could do, you know, if you had some user fields, you know, if you want to, if you had a field on the users table, which is a department, which is a string options, then you could here do finance. So you send a notification to all of your users who work in the finance department. Okay, let's just do ID 1. All right. Title. Free food. Free sandwiches in the cafeteria. Cafeteria now. All right. And you can also add a link here if you had some, but we don't have a link. I mean, you know, if you had a link to your cafeteria, whatever. Okay. Okay, let's see how this works. So now that I pressed notify me, now if I reload or the next time you do something, why do I not see? This should count. Suggestion from Jose, have info in user where. Yeah, I think we, yes, we definitely need more documentation things where you can, we need a little pop-up with the help for this. This was Jose suggesting we should have some documentation where I wrote that where bit. I don't know why I'm not getting, this should, oh, now of course I'm not seeing it because, so normally, there we go. I don't know why that took a little bit longer, but anyways, now it's here. Oh yeah, there's some caching here. I forget that. So I think there's a 1 minute caching just to stop your browser from loading this all the time. So here is a, so it's not, at least on this mode, is not delivered instantly, but you know, it's your browser gets told about it. So here, you get this, if I'm doing something else, then here I notice that, you know, there's a 1 here, and that means there's 1 unread notification. And I can click it, and I see my notification, right? So that's the notification system that we've had for a while, and we've had that for a very long time, and I certainly haven't used it very much. I think there was on some projects we did use it, but not terribly much. But now you can enable those notifications to go to your user's phone's lock screen, which is cool. Okay, so to do that, you have to enable push notifications. I don't know why this is suggesting that. Anyway, so to do that, you need to generate some VAPIT keys, public and private. I have no idea what that means, but you can just press this button. And now it generates some keys that will be used in order to transmit that information. You need a admin's user account. So we'll put my other email address. And now we need an icon. So I guess I need to upload an icon. I had one before here. These are kind of big. Maybe that's why it wasn't really working. There was one Like it's only showing one bit of it. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I've got an image here. I tried to generate this as a Saltcorn 1.0 logo a long time ago. Anyways, you want this to be public. And that's all. And then back to notifications. Probably need to reload. We can pick this. It's a bit annoying. Okay, so that's all you need to do. Just enable push notifications, set these Vapid keys, and that's it. Oh, and then the user has to, in their settings here, so notice they can receive notifications by email. We had that before. But now they can also enable push. I think we need to change this label, but I'm not quite sure what it should be. Anyways, now I will get web push notifications. See, interesting. Something started shaking up here. Let's see. So it says, this website wants to send notifications. So I will say allow. And so now let's see what happens. Now I'll say notify me. Okay, you can't see that, but because I have two screens, I'm only broadcasting one window. But on my other screen, this is very exciting. On my other screen, at the top, a little thing came up that said, whatever it said. Let's see what it says. Free sandwiches in the cafeteria now. Free food. And I see the logo. I see the header, and I see the body of the text. And we didn't set a link. And I just tried it just before this. I tried it on my mobile. So I went to this website, not this one, but one I generated. And I logged in, and it asked if I wanted to receive notifications, and I said yes, and it came up as a lock screen notification on my mobile, which is cool. So that works now. Quite easy to set up, I think, and you can now send that to users. So look, hey Patrick, good to see you. So why would you want to do this? Well, look, I do think this was abused for marketing purposes, and therefore browsers have not been, have now cracked down on that. And as you saw, the only thing we saw was a little icon here saying that it was trying to send notifications. So it was used by, there were, for some period, you don't see it so much anymore, mercifully. But there was a period when you'd go to websites and they would all say, would you like to receive news about our wonderful product? And then the idea is you would get push notifications to your phone whenever they wrote a blog post. And basically browsers cracked down a lot on that. It was very spammy. So look, you can do it for marketing. Look, that's your responsibility. And if you have some very engaged users, maybe some of them will receive push notifications about your upcoming launches, new features, whatever, offers. I think, this is more interesting, to be honest, in terms of apps where, say, you have some employees and you want to send like some very important notices to them. You want to make sure they all get it. So this can definitely be, for an internal application for your company. Maybe if something important happened, you do want to send notifications to them, right? And then you also, you can also tell all of your employees to enable those notifications. We do anyways, right? For if you have like WhatsApp, you probably have notifications enabled on your lock screen. So I'd say mainly for company internal portals, internal intranet applications, that would make more sense, and I think you'd get a higher adoption there. And you can tell people how to enable it. But have a go if you find this is useful. and you know, you let me know if anything needs changing. Okay, we have a question. Can we configure all users to receive notifications by default? I am developing a management software and I would like to be able to communicate. Well, no, you're right. So that is not currently possible. Currently, each user has to go in and enable this on their notifications menu. That's a good question. I think that is valid, because if you have to tell them to do this, that would be a lot of work. So I do think it's a good idea. I think we should do something about this. I'm just not sure what. Let me make a point of that. I mean, Jose, let me write if you have some idea about how that should be done. Let me know. I mean, we could do something through this. Hi, Leonam. Good to see you. We could do something through this. We do have this edit. We could do something here where we have one for how is that user enabling push notifications. That will allow you on an individual basis to set it. The other thing we could do is on the notification screen, we could give admin sort of some more options here to enable, disable by default. So yeah, I think it's valid, especially if you have hundreds of users. You don't want to sit there and click it for everyone. So let me think about how we can do that. But I think you're right. I think we should do that. Okay. Are there any more questions? Because I have kind of run out of things to talk about, and I can't. Now I figured out how to. Let me see if there's anything else I would like to cover. Otherwise, we're just gonna make it short today, which is actually okay, because over the last, we have been running quite late. And I'm sure people have much better things to do than sit here and listen to me. Oh, there was some other thing. Look, this is less important. Things are getting less important. No one's asking questions, so... Mike. Mike, I don't see your other questions. Mike, I don't see... Maybe that was from a previous thing, so if you can retype out. In this chat, I don't see anything else from you. Thanks, Patrick. Each new user should have enabled push notifications. Yeah, I think those are the things we should look at. How do you set those defaults? So, Mike, if you type out your things, I'm going to show you one more thing we did. Okay, so another feature here is that some people have been asking about. Let me switch to my other application here. Another thing that we've been looking at is search, and it was kind of funny. We implemented this feature early in the week, and then somebody immediately asked for it. Somebody else asked for it at the same time. So we have this full text search, and I can search for things, all right? And I can search for things that are at the beginning of the word. So if I search for Melville, then I get Herman Melville, who's an author that, is in this table that is matching. So I don't have to search for the whole word. But what doesn't work is, that works. Okay, that works because I've enabled this new feature. So that doesn't work by default. And that is because I've enabled this option which disables full text search. I should clarify this label. It's not a good label, and I need to write something else, because it doesn't really disable full text search. It implements full text search by a different method. And it uses like instead of TS vector. This is some PostgreSQL inside baseball, but it's basically slower but less flexible. So if I disable this, then yeah, if I search for, again, this works at the beginning of the word, but not at the end of the word. I think this is more important in some cultures than other. I think, you know, the first request we got this was from Germany, from Patrick, in fact, who is with us. Who, you know, and I think German just has, you know, they sort of compose words out of shorter fragments. And you know, in English, I haven't really heard about anyone needing this, and I didn't feel it was very natural. But I can see that for some other cultures, for German, it's more important. So you can if you want to be able to search in the middle of the word, as it says, you can tick this button, and now you can just go for something that's in the middle of the word. It will slow things down, but you can still create a full text search index. If you switch between the two, you need to recreate it. So if you just switch that option, you need to delete it, and you need to create it again. Create it here by selecting full text search as your field. And you, Mike, no, I'm still not seeing your questions. If you just want to repaste them, otherwise I really can't see anything by scroll. Here, there's nothing else from you, just morning. I can definitely say you are live. Okay, so there you go. So by enabling this full text search, it will index, you know, this using the like method. So if you change this, delete your full text search indices and recreate them again. If you don't need this to search in the middle of the word, I would leave it, because it is a less language aware search method, with you know, with the TS vector based approach, it's mimicking a search engine, and it's filtering out a lot of filler words it knows, and it does that individually for the language that you've chosen, that you've set as the default locale. So it will know that the word a is sort of not terribly important, and is not something that it should. I think it just filters out filler words, and then also it's aware of strings. So if you put things in quotes, then it will search for that exact match. You won't get that with the like based search method. So it is better to keep it on, you know, this TS vector based approach, but just sometimes you need to be able to search the middle of the word, and then you can switch to this. Okay, I am still waiting for Mike. Okay, great. We got some words from Mike here. Let me just see which one this is. Bug 33. How do I do this? I need to go to, let's do it. Let's do it in here so we can all look together. Okay, so Mike is asking about, let's just go to here. 3307. Oh yeah. Yeah, I did actually see this. All right. I'm going to assign this to... I don't really have much to say right now, other than that my guess is that this comes from some overzealous escaping. And let me just talk more briefly about why this is happening and how I've changed my thinking about this. So you need to escape what's called XSS. You need to escape HTML because otherwise it could contain malicious JavaScript, right? And everybody knows that if you've got HTML that comes from the user, so let's say you're writing a blog, you're writing some blogging software, or you're building some sort of blog, and then you allow the user to make comments, and you allow those comments to contain HTML because you want to give your users the ability to rich text format the comments that they're making on your blog. Then you do need to escape that, otherwise a malicious actor could do bad things. They could embed JavaScript that could send the users off to a different page, and that may trick your users. So we have what's called XSS, which is, I can't remember what it stands for, cross-site scripting, something like that. And that escapes, so that pulls out different kinds of entities. And often these are very conservative. They're very conservative settings and very strict by default. Now, so when I first wrote Saltcorn, I escaped as much as I could, and almost everything that came from the user. The user being the person operating Saltcorn. And I've later changed my mind about that. I don't actually think we need to escape quite so much the strings that are entered by the administrator. I think we have to say that we trust the administrator, and we can, anything. The administrator should, to some extent, be allowed to enter dangerous HTML, and it's only when HTML comes from the user that this needs to be escaped. So that is, in essence, why this is being escaped. And you're getting out, your strippers. So hrefs are stripped out. The problem here is that this hyper 0 potentially comes from the user, right? This is a field value, and fields in general come from users, potentially come from users. So when we do the interpolation, which is the other syntax, where we do double curly brackets, we have two ways of doing that. We have the unsafe escaping, which has an exclamation mark after the first opening curly brackets, and we have it without, so it's escaped. All right, I'm gonna think about what we can do about this. I agree that as an admin, you should be able to put this stuff in. Yeah, so I'll have a look at why this is being escaped. The problem is that, hyper 0 you want to escape, but not the whole string, because the whole string comes from the admin. I need to think about this. All right, I'm going to assign this. Let's put a label on it. We'll make sure it gets fixed, or at least looked at, or something happens. So there you go, 1.4. Okay, thanks, Mike. I guess this is important to you, so I need to make sure that we can do something about this. Thank you, everyone who showed up. I think if there are no more questions, then I'm going to go back to my noisy house and go back and do some more work. We've got several exciting projects that we're working on. Aha, we have another question. I make frequent use of search or create on key fields, for example. However, I would like to pass some data to the underlying pop-up. Interesting. All right, Leon, I'll deal with that in a second. We do have a charts option. I'll show you that in a second. Mike, interesting question about search or create. Should just see it. Let's see what options there are. I guess it's like publisher here, right? So just for people who haven't been using this. Oops. You have this option here, and then you have to have. Yeah, there is no way to pass anything, but I think actually this is a very conservative, very small extension to have a little extra state formula here. So what's going on here? This is quite a neat field view. Let's give it a. Sometimes things aren't 100%. What you see is what you get, so you just need to put an extra new line. Okay, so the idea is here I have to choose an existing publisher, but I can also create a new one, and then I get this pop-up. And what Mike wants to do is to be able to pre-populate one of these fields, or you can even hide one of these fields, and it still gets pre-populated if it comes in from the URL. So Mike, this is, I think this is a very simple change. So one thing that is not currently possible. I'm just thinking, that you actually really have no way of doing this. So let me make a note of this. So it's just, we could just have like an extra value, so something like that here. And you really need this. I was just thinking, can you do something yourself just by making a link here? But you could actually. You could. But not really. That's too complicated. That's a good point. Okay. Have a charts option. Yes, we have a charts option. You need to install a plugin. Sorry, they're not called plugins anymore. They're called modules. Modules sounds much better. Do I have one here? Let's do it in the other one. Okay. First, you need some data. Let's do some floating point data. What are we reading? We're reading. All right, this is like. We're doing height. Let's do that in meters. All right, we're now in a hot air balloon, and we're reading something. We're reading temperature. Pretty basic. We're just gonna go up in our hot air balloon and read the temperature in Celsius. And we should add some data. This is totally fictitious. I actually have no idea how much faster it gets cool. This is definitely cool. Let's make this 15. 7. This isn't quite right. And I'm pretty sure that like if you're up at 8,000, then it's like minus 20, something like that. I don't know anything about this. Okay, so we now have some data. I'm going to show you how to do a. Oh, I guess I can show you how to do. Okay, I'm just going to start by showing you how to do a scatter plot because that's the easiest. So you need a module for this. It's called Visualize with a Z. 2-degree drop per 1,000 feet. Okay, I'm not far off. Thanks, Mike. Okay, this has some. That's fine. Doesn't matter. Okay, so now you can do. Okay, so oh yeah, I forgot about this. This is actually pretty cool. So you can you can create a view, and that view can be, you have your plots, right? So you have your two different things there: relations and proportions. Proportions is stuff like pie charts, bar charts, and relations is things like scatter plots. But there's actually a really neat way of creating these views, and that's using the Data Explorer. So here you just set like, okay, what type of plot do you want? So it's just like interactive, you're just clicking your way. And okay, so I want temp, yes, height. Okay, and this is the height in pixels. Okay, so you choose your x-axis, you want height. And okay, then you can have like different types of plots, but we just want a single one. Temperature and lines. Right, so there's our plot. Okay, so let's say you've now clicked enough, and you can do like that, or whether you wanted to. Now you then say save as view. Okay, now I have that as a view that's been created by the Data Explorer. Why is this not? Ah, interesting. Bug in the Data Explorer. I think I can, if I restart this, it doesn't really restart Saltcorn. Yeah, okay. Okay, so that is, I always find one bug every time I do this. Here you go. Now you got plots, right? And you can't really now go back and in the Data Explorer you can't really go and edit this. You just have to start again. Okay, and like if you choose the other one, if you choose proportions, then you could do like bar charts and pie charts and stuff. Rather than showing you that, I think just if you just add a category field, which is like type of measurement or if it's evening or not, you can see that, but you can just do that yourself. But actually the one thing I do want to show you is there's another way of doing this, and there's a very powerful module called pivot table, and that is a little bit similar. You have to create a view here. It doesn't have a Data Explorer type thing. Where is it? Pivot table. Okay. And so this is using an external library. The other one was also using an external library. It's using Plotly JavaScript. This is using a library called Pivot Table. And you just to say, first of all, you start by saying which fields do you want to be eligible. And now you can kind of create, well, it's meant to be for pivot tables, but you actually, because it's, so this is like our pivot table here, right? Yeah, Patrick is saying JS View. Patrick has done some fantastic plots. So if you want something that's more flexible, that Plotly gives you, that our thing doesn't, our visualization module doesn't give you, then you can use JS View. Then you can get very flexible plots. Let me just finish up this. Okay, so this also gives you tables, but it actually also gives you plots. How does that give you plots? Here we go. Heat maps. No, bar chart. I can't remember how this works, but it's not really a bar chart we want. We want something else. Line chart. Yeah, so you can get different plots here. I can't remember. Some. I can't remember. There's like a million different options. And then the cool thing here is once you've done this, you can either just, let's say this is the plot that we want. This isn't actually the plot that we want. Average. Okay, look, I'm close to giving up here. It's getting worse and worse. I can't remember how to do this. Okay, we want something with graphs, but I can't seem to get like the right plot. Maybe I don't know. Okay, anyways, what you can do is, okay, I've chosen here, yeah, let's just leave this. I've chosen here to leave this, so now the user gets to click around and do whatever it is they want to do here. Ah, we finally get some plots here. I picked the right option. So you can look up this pivot. Ah, I can show you. This is very, very powerful. So you can read about all the different examples here and stuff. But where were we? There. So now in this view, the user gets to keep on, right? So as the administrator, you've built a view, but you're letting the user keep on exploring this data and creating their own plot. But you could also not have that, right? So now I should maybe remember what this was. This was stacked bar chart, sum, height. So if we go back here, oops. Okay, let's just configure this. Okay, so what was it? Stack, sum, height. There we go. Maybe I want temperature. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's the one I want. Now, if you could click this off, then the user doesn't see that, right? The user just sees this. They don't get this ability to change the plot. So that there you go. Those are the kind of options that we have. Definitely these things could be developed more. I keep on wanting to do this. There's this super flexible one. Now that we have LLMs, we could do this Vega Lite. There's a thing called Vega Lite, which is super powerful. You could do all of this. And we could try something where we let the LLM generate. So this is basically super flexible plots that are defined with JSON. See if I can see. Yeah, so they have a JSON specification, and we could do something where we let the LLM generate this. That would be very neat. Maybe if I have time, I will do something like this. Maybe. All right. Thank you. Have a good. We're up to an hour now. Have a good. Did I answer everything, by the way? Search or create. Yeah, I think I got that. Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. Have a good weekend. There may be some interruption to our regular service of office hours because I am away. I'm going away next week, most of it, and then I'm back a week, and then I'm gone for a week. So there may be some interruption, but we may still do it. Great. Thank you. Good to see you, everyone.